The 13th year, the year of hiding, came at last to its end. No longer bound to disguise, the Pandavas left Virata's capital as themselves and settled openly at Upaplavya, another town in the Matsya country. And from there, they sent out messengers, summoning their friends and kinsmen. For the time of hiding was over, and the time of gathering strength had begun. And they came. Chariots rolled in from every direction, bringing warriors and old friends to Upaplavya. After 13 years of loss and hiding, the Pandavas watched their allies stream toward them and dared to feel the strength gathering at their backs. The lonely years were over. From Dwarka came Krishna and Balram, and with them Subhadra, Arjuna's wife, her son Abhimanyu, and a host of Yadava warriors. Long and loud blew the conch trumpets as Virata's prince and the Pandavas went out to receive Janardana, Krishna, whose coming meant more to their cause than a whole army. Indrasena and the others who had left the Pandavas in the forest a year before now rejoined them with their chariots. The prince of Kashi came and the ruler of Sebia with their forces. Old bonds, tested by the hard years, were renewed at Upaplavya, and the Pandavas following swelled by the day. And Drupad came from Panchala with 3 divisions of troops, bringing with him Sikhandin and Draupadi's sons, and above all her brother Dhrishtadyumna, the fire-born prince destined to command. Many more princes gathered too, all firmly attached to the Pandavas. What had been 5 exiles in Bakloth was becoming, at Upaplavya, the core of a great army. And before that illustrious gathering of friendly heroes, a wedding was celebrated. Abhimanyu married the princess Uttara by the full Vedic rites. It was a moment of joy and alliance both. Arjuna's son wed to Virata's daughter, binding Matsya and Dwarka and Panchala to the Pandav cause. When the celebrations ended, the heroes met in conclave in Virata's hall. They took their seats in the great assembly Krishna, beside Yudhishthir and Virata, Balram and Satyaki, beside Drupad, the hall packed with kings and warriors. As the bustle died down, every eye turned to one man. For on the question about to be debated hung the fate of 2 royal houses and the lives of numberless men. And Krishna rose to speak. You all know the story. Krishna said to the hushed hall, how Yudhishthir was cheated at the game board, stripped of his kingdom, and driven with his brothers and Draupadi into 13 years of exile, which they have borne patiently, in full redemption of their pledged word. Now weigh well, and counsel a course that accords with dharma and serves the honor and welfare of both houses. For Yudhishthir desires nothing he cannot justly claim. Krishna went on, and wishes good even to the sons of Dhritarashtra, who so grievously wronged him. Bear in mind both the fraud and meanness of the Kauravas and the honorable magnanimity of the Pandavas, and devise a just settlement. We do not know Duryodhan's mind. I feel we should send an able, upright envoy to persuade him to peace, to the restoration of half the kingdom. Then Balram rose. Krishna's counsel is wise and just, he said, and I endorse it. Good for Duryodhan and for Dharmaputra alike. If Kunti's sons can regain their kingdom by peaceful settlement, nothing could be better for them or the Kauravas or the whole land. Only so will there be happiness and peace. Someone able and weighty must go to convey Yudhishthir's wish and bring back an answer. But Balram added a hard qualification. Let the envoy seek the support of Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Drona, Vidura, Kripa, Aswathama, even Karna and Shakuni, and let him never give way to anger. For remember, Dharmaputra staked his kingdom knowingly and lost it, disregarding his friends, playing a man he knew he could not beat. He cannot now demand. He can only supplicate for his rights. Approach Duryodhan tactfully. Balram urged the princess and make peace by every means in your power. Only what comes in peace is worthwhile. Out of war, nothing but wrong can issue. His logic was that the fulfilled exile bought the Pandavas their freedom, the right not to wander again, but not, by strict law, the return of a kingdom they had themselves gambled away. It was a lawyer's truth, and it did not sit well with everyone. And Satyaki, the fierce Yadava, could not contain himself. He rose in anger. Balram's words do not strike me as just in the least, he said. A skillful man can plead a plausible case for anything, but no skill on earth can turn wrong into right, or injustice into justice. I must protest against this stand. It fills me with disgust. In one tree, said Satyaki, one branch bends heavy with fruit and another sticks out gaunt and useless. And so of these two brothers, Krishna speaks words that breathe dharma, while Balram's stand is unworthy of him. He was drawing a hard line between the two sons of Vasudev, and the assembly held its breath at the boldness of it. If the Kauravas cheated Yudhishthir of his kingdom, and who can doubt it, then to let them keep it is as unjust as confirming a thief in his stolen goods. Anyone who blames Dharmaputra does so from cowardly fear of Duryodhan, not from reason. Satyaki's voice rang through the hall, and men who had been swayed by Balram's calm began to feel the pull of a hotter, simpler justice. It was not of his own will that Yudhishthir played. Satyaki pressed. The Kauravas pressed and invited the unwilling novice to sit against a cheat, in a game that could only end in disaster. Why should he now bow and beg? He has kept his word. 12 years in the forest, a year in disguise, all fulfilled to the letter. And yet these shameless men question even that. Yudhishthir is no mendicant, too grovel for his rights. How can a righteous war be wrong? Satyaki demanded. There is no sin in slaying enemies who take up arms. To supplicate before them is only disgrace. If Duryodhan wants war, let him have it. We are ready. Let there be no delay. Let us get on with the preparations. For Duryodhan will not part with an acre without a war, and to waste time is folly. It was the war party's case, made with fire, and it stirred the whole hall. And here the assembly stood at a genuine crossroads. Balram's cool counsel of peace through supplication on one side, Satyaki's blazing demand for justice through war on the other, and the whole future of two houses hanging between them. Every man in that hall felt the weight of it. Then Drupad rose, and his heart had been gladdened by Satyaki's resolute words. The assembly, thus divided between the council of patience and the council of the sword, waited to see which way the great host would lean. Peace or war? Freedom bought by begging, or rights won by battle? It was the question the whole epic had been traveling toward, and it wouldn't be settled in a single sitting. But a course of action was, at last, about to be proposed that both parties could accept. For the wisdom of the assembly, in the end, was not to choose starkly between peace and war, but to try the one while preparing for the other. And it was Drupad, old, shrewd, and the Pandav's staunch father-in-law, who framed the practical path forward and named the man who could walk it. He supported Satyaki's spirit, but he had a cooler head for how to serve it. Satyaki is right, and I support him, said Drupad. Soft words alone will never bring Duryodhan to reason. So let us press on with our war preparations and warn our friends at once to bring up their forces. Send word to Salya, Drishtaketu, Jayatsena, the Kekayas. And yet, we must also send a fit envoy to Dhritarashtra. The learned Brahman who conducts the rites in my court is such a man. Instruct him well in what to say to Duryodhan and how to convey the message to Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, and Drona. Then Krishna rose and endorsed it. What you propose is practicable and follows the kingly code. He told Drupad, Balram and I are bound by equal ties of affection to Kauravas and Pandavas both. We came only for the wedding and will now return to Dwarka. You are great among the princes here, in age and wisdom alike, and Dhritarashtra esteems you as a boyhood friend. So it is right that you should instruct the envoy. If he cannot turn Duryodhan from his folly, then prepare for the inevitable war and send us word. So the conference ended. Krishna left for Dwarka with his people, and the Pandavas and their allies pressed on with their preparations. Messengers rode out to every friendly prince, and armies began to mobilize across the land. Nor were the Kauravas idle. Duryodhan and his brothers were mustering their own forces and summoning their own friends. The news of it spread everywhere, and the earth, says the poet, shook beneath the tramp of marching legions, and Drupad gave his Brahman a shrewd briefing. You know Duryodhan's mind and the Pandavas' worth, he said. Go as their envoy and show the weak old king, misled by his son, the path of dharma. Vidura will be your ally. Your mission may sow useful differences among Bhishma, Drona, and Kripa. While they argue, we gain time to prepare. And while you talk peace, their war work slackens. If by a miracle you win good terms, so much the better. Though I expect Duryodhan will refuse. And so the Brahmans set out for Hastinapura, carrying the first slender hope of peace, while the Pandavas sharpened their swords behind it.